I hope everyone is having a great day today. It took me 27 minutes to get everything set up properly. I am still not quite a professional streamer, but I am well on my way. I've got my scene set up. I think I've got a plan for what we're doing today, and I think we're going to have a great time. So please join me, follow along, and we're going to be working on some Python stuff using ChatGPT to get stuff done very quickly. I want to show you how to use it and the best practices that I've found work for me. So without further ado, let's get to it. Except VS Code is not on the screen. What happened? Oh, they're not. I forgot to make them visible. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. 3. Let's try it again. It's not working. What is the problem? Let's go back to the intro. Still not working. So I don't understand why it's not showing up. I see it on the left side of my screen. I don't see it on the right side of my screen. This is fun. All right. Had to turn studio mode off. Let's turn it back on. Nothing is popping up. I don't understand it. Let's move this up. Maybe that'll make a difference. All right, I got my camera to turn off. You can see the YouTube video I have playing in the background. I don't understand why it's not showing up. All right, let's see if I'm being lied to. I'm gonna pull up the stream. All right, I do not see anything. This is weird. This is strange. This is the first time I've had this issue. I don't understand what's causing it. All right. This is strange. Welcome to Troubleshooting Live with Ben Smith, where Ben tries to figure out why the streaming software is not working correctly. Fun for the whole family. All right, I'm gonna have to Google this. Streamlabs, OBS. web browser. Actually, it's a windowed source. Window capture. Window capture source not appearing in live. Hello viewer, I am working on troubleshooting. I don't know why my web browser is not showing up, so I'm working on getting that fixed. If you'd like to watch me troubleshoot, feel free, but it's probably gonna be more interesting when you come back. All right. All right, I will make a new source from scratch and see if that fixes things. Let's delete this. Oh wait, the one viewer I was talking to is probably me. Oh, now it's showing up. What in the hell? How is that appearing? This is so strange. I deleted the source and now it's showing up. All right, VS Code is not appearing. All right, add a new window capture. This is gonna be a web browser. All right, is this popping up? Yes, all right. Now I need to edit this. See, I had done all this before the stream started, but for some reason, it just went blank. So that works. VS Code works. Well, not in studio mode. So let's go to studio mode. Nothing. All right. All right, gonna add sources back. VS Code, command window. Get into streaming, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Although really, I'm getting into streaming because I need clients for my websites. I make websites, let's see, not just websites, although that's primarily what I do. I also work on devices here and there as needed. Just wrapped up a project with a Raspberry Pi. It was kind of fun. All right, so is this gonna show up? Yes, that is showing up. So let's add VS Code again. That one is showing up. Fantastic. Is ChatGPT appearing? No, it is not. This is so strange. All right. Web browser. That's appearing. Docker. Docker's showing up. Console is showing up. All right. I think after 10 minutes of streaming, I am finally ready to stream. So first of all, let's go to Vanilla Sky. All right. All right, get status. So it's been a while since I have updated this code. Gonna go ahead and add these new files. So make image is a utility that I've created that allows you to pass in a prompt to have ChatGPT create it. Then I have two different prompts, one called matrix, one called text explainer. I'm not really gonna get into what those are. Get status, git commit am, work in progress, git push origin. All right, so now I need to set up GitHub. So this is going to necessitate creating another window. And this is going to take a few minutes. Duplicate. Coding. This is going to be GitHub. All right, here we go. So I'm going to review this code real quick. First, I'm going to check to see if there's anybody watching me on the stream. Looks like I'm the only one, which is fine. It's easier when I don't have someone on the other side, but I will eventually get used to it. I'm adjusting my hearing aids. All right, let me turn this volume down just a bit. There we go. Note to self, I need to set it up so that the background music does not go into my video file that I'm recording, but that is a problem for another time. All right, so let's review this code. Directory structure is just, it's the output of the tree command, and it shows my directory structure. I use this file when I'm talking to ChatGPT because it helps it to understand what the directory structure is. It can infer a lot about what your program is doing if it just knows how everything is structured. All right, I added story title to the method signature. That looks right. Story title, date, that's right. Python, OpenAI. All right, define some new constants. Yeah, this is not going to be something that takes a long time to review. This is mostly just rubber stamping. All right, here are the fairy tales that it can choose from when I run the fairy tale portion of the program. Ooh, I have an email. I'm going to check that. I'm not going to put it on the screen. All right, I'm going to have to respond to that client after the stream's over. All right, make image. Here is the utility I made that will generate an image. Here's how it works. So we import all of our stuff from the other modules. We initialize the logger. We import libraries. I'm pretty sure that I'm not using all of these libraries. I just copied and pasted from somewhere else. All right, so we start the image generation. We initialize the OpenAI client. We define the file name that we're going to be getting the image prompt from. Doesn't look like I added it, but that's fine. It really shouldn't be part of source code anyway. It's just a text file that says, make this. So we open it, we read the file, we output the prompt to the console, and then we generate the image. And I've hard-coded what I want it to output because I was just trying to take care of one specific problem. It didn't make sense to do it in a completely repeatable way. Oh, this is weird. Why do I have fairy tale stories in constants, but it's just a normal variable? All right, let's look at VS Code to see how that works. Where did VS Code go? There we go. It's such a generic icon, I always lose track of it. So I am looking for what file? constants module. Init from .fairytales import fairytale stories. Okay, and this is all it is. Should it be... See, all my other constants are capitalized. So the question I have is, should I update this? Should I update fairytale stories so that it's uppercase? I think for now I'll leave it alone. It's not causing problems. But I will keep it in mind to work on later. So for our numerology prompt, we are... Well, what happens with the numerology prompt is it... I wanted to make videos about numerology because it's the kind of thing that ChatGPT is good at coming up with on its own. I've made a custom GPT called Numerology GPT. It's private just to me. And what it does is it evaluates a number based on the instructions that I've given it, and it tells you what that number could mean for your life. It uses the existing principles of numerology to come up with what it's telling you. My first idea for creating videos was videos about numerology. If you pick, numbers between 1 and 10,000 and just make a video about what each one means, then that's 10,000 possible videos. And let me pull up the prompt that I had for this. All right, I need to look at this to make sure it's safe to put on the stream. So just one moment. Okay, looks fine. So back to VS Code we go. And it disappeared. That is so strange. All right, so here is the prompt. It looks a lot like the other fairy tale prompt. And what we're doing is we're giving it instructions for what we want it to do. So under my secret processing instructions, which I also have for the fairy tale prompt, we're telling it about the number that we're processing. And the reason that I'm doing it like this, where we calculate various properties about the numbers that we're evaluating and putting them in this prompt as a Jinja template, is that ChatGPT did a terrible job of evaluating what a particular number meant, what it was for. Like it couldn't tell if something was a prime. It couldn't tell if there was a repeating sequence. So I've written some basic code that figures that out. And we just include this in the prompt. So the final output of our prompt is, here's our number, here are the properties that we've determined. Please use this information to create assets for a video. And that is that. So back to GitHub. Generate prompt. Create fairy tale assets. And this goes through our steps. If you saw my disastrous stream the other day, then you understand what this does. So after we go through all the steps, we then generate the images, not the images, the audio with a voiceover from 11 Labs. And then we iterate over all the images that we've come up with and have OpenAI generate them. Then we have format character descriptions, process template. That seems fine. This file was deleted. Okay. I'm yawning for some unknown reason. I don't know. From files, import prep directory, write JSON of file, save list to CSV. All right, so we're adding the images prompt. And this is a little bit different from the prompt where it generates the text. What it does is it's supposed to create consistent characters. I know that's not really possible right now with the way that DALL-E works. It will be possible eventually. But for now, I'm going to have to settle for a consistent look and feel across each of the images. Camera angles, composition, orientation. Let's take a look at the difference here. I do have different instructions based on the orientation of the image. So if it is landscape, we tell it composition techniques. Apply the rule of thirds to balance compositions and lead the viewer's eye through the image. Use framing and depth of field creatively to focus attention on the main subjects or themes of each scene. And then if it is a portrait, the instructions are like so. As this is a portrait-oriented series, we're going to aim for a more centered composition to keep the focus on the characters and their interactions. Use leading lines and symmetry to guide the viewer's eye through the image, emphasizing the emotional connection between characters and their environment. Leave the bottom third of the image relatively clean to accommodate TikTok's captioning and engagement features. Use framing and depth of field creatively to focus attention on the main subjects or themes of each scene. So far, this works relatively well. I'm going to pull some of these up in VS Code to show you what they look like. It's so strange. I have to click on this one window to get VS Code to display. It's odd. All right, so let's go to generated files. And let me show you what I came up with before the image generation was working well. All right, so here is the first series of images that I generated. This is for a sequel to Peter Rabbit. This is meant to be Petra Rabbit, Peter's descendant. Now, notice the difference in art style between this one and this one. Because this image looks like a DreamWorks or a Pixar character. And this looks like it's a character from a storybook. So while it's absolutely impressive that ChatGPT can generate this, for video assets, we want to have a consistent art style. The vast majority of people don't care, as long as the video is otherwise engaging, but I care. And so I want to make sure everything has a consistent style as much as possible. So let's take a look at the other images that we have. This was meant to be a type of story about how the forest that Peter Rabbit lives in needed help because their AI system was malfunctioning. Here we're back to like the DreamWorks style. Like this looks super cool. Like this is Petra Rabbit, and this is a character that the AI came up with by itself. It's a squirrel of some sort that's meant to be Petra's best friend. One interesting thing is that these look like smartwatch faces. And if you recall from the first time that this character came up, they were being handed a smartwatch. I wonder if this was intentional on the part of the AI. There's no way to really know, but it's interesting. All right, so then we have all the characters meeting in order to figure out what to do. Uh, Take note of this guy, squirrel up top, and then normal size feet like a human. All right, now we're back to the storybook style. They're planting some trees, like good caretakers of the forest would. And then this came up with like it's supposed to be a storybook, I think. But since it can't generate text, it doesn't look that great. So that was my first iteration. After I added the image processing step and told it to start generating images that were consistent in tone and style, it improved. It's still not perfect, but it improved. So this is from The Legend of Finn McCool, which I don't think I've read. I mean, I haven't read the original and I haven't read the sequel that it came up with. So actually, let's find out what the story of Finn McCool is. Oh, I closed the web browser. That is a problem. Here we are. All right, so The Legend of Finn McCool. All right, the Irish legend of Finn McCool was first written down in the 1840s. The story is about two giants who do not like each other. Irish folk tales say that the Giant's Causeway was created by giants moving these huge rocks. Well, what is the Giant's Causeway? Oh, okay, this thing right here. Okay, Irish folktales say the Giant's Causeway was created by giants moving these huge rocks. These giants were Finn McCool and Benandonner. Finn walked across the causeway he had made to Scotland. He went to fight Benandonner, but when he saw him, he was scared he would lose and went back home. Benandonner then came to Finn's house to battle him, but Finn's wife had a clever plan. She dressed Finn up as a baby and put him into their son's cot. When he saw the huge baby, Benandonner was very scared. He didn't want to meet the huge baby's father, who had to be even bigger than he was. Benandonner left and never bothered Finn McCool again. Okay, so let's go back to VS Code. All right, so here are our images. I don't know what that's supposed to be. Here we have a random triptych. We've got a different art style. I think this is before I had the consistent art style working. Got someone messing with a mechanical device. This is a bug that I haven't quite been able to figure out. I don't understand why the images are landscape oriented when they're supposed to be portrait oriented. Then we have a hand and more hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fingers, so fingers are still a problem. Then we have some birds. And then some other image. So let's see if we can figure out what this was supposed to be. All right, here is the story that it came up with. Once upon a time, in a chapter yet untold, we rejoin beloved characters from the new adventures of Finn McCool, a whimsical, modern Ireland where the past and future intertwine like the roots of an ancient oak. Meet Finn McCool, the wise giant, Ethne, the young engineer, and Aofi, the giantess guardian of nature. Their idyllic world faces a crisis as the community's water source mysteriously dries up. Okay, so I understand. So this is the water source that's drying up. Okay, their idyllic world faces a crisis as the community's water source mysteriously dries up, threatening all life. Without hesitation, our trio embarks on a quest to find the cause, reminding us of the importance of balance between nature and technology. Deep in their journey, they discover an old dam, a forgotten creature of mischievous sprites. Ethne, with her sharp mind, devises a way to communicate, opening a dialogue of empathy and understanding. Moved by the trio's plea, the sprites agree to dismantle the dam. As the stones are removed, the land rejoices, water flows once more, and a new alliance is forged among humans, giants, and sprites. This tale of rejuvenation teaches us unity, the value of combining wisdom with innovation, and the power of diversity in overcoming challenges. Let's carry forward the spirit of generosity, community support, and empathy towards a sustainable future. Well, I mean, that's perfectly lovely. All right, so here's our... Oh, I forgot what I was doing. I was looking for images to show you how much better that it is now. All right, so here's Brer Rabbit. And these do have a bit more of a consistent style. It's not perfect, but it's better than it was. So if we look at this and this, like, they're still not, consistent, but they're closer. Like, look at the fox up here, and then we look at the fox over here. Different art style, but two foxes here and two foxes in the other image. So I think that's a good thing. All right, here they're like, coming up with ideas. They're marching out to fix things. This does have, it feels like Judy Hopps from Animaltopia. I think that's the name of it. Nice. Different art style compared to this. And then we've got that, whatever that is. But the art style is more consistent than it was. Okay. So I think we are good to go back to GitHub. All right, improvements. Pre-processing. Then we have numerology again. All right, this is fine. So I'm going to approve this and merge it. I always do a squash and merge because no one needs to see all the different changes that I made from commit to commit. Confirm. All right. Now let's go back to our console. Git status, git switch main, git pull origin main. All right. I know I need to make a new branch, but I'm not sure what I need to call this. I'm not sure what I want to what I'm wanting to do today. Let's take a look at the VS Code. All right, I think we should run through this, see if it will generate a fairy tale for us. Need to comment out this loop. It should load the niche. I'm going to turn VS Code off for a moment so that I can take a look at the env file. All right, that looks correct. Just pull up Docker. No, Docker's not up, so to the console we go. Docker PS should show me all running containers. There are no running containers. So Docker compose up D, and then we go to Docker to take a look at what it looks like. All right, it's loading. Oh, it looks like we have some errors here. Looks like we're doing the Pied Piper today. Pied Piper of Hamelin. Name error, date time not defined. So inside processor, I'm referencing date time before it appears. So let's go to VS Code and fix that. Oh wait, datetime is defined. So let's look at this again. All right, prompts processor line 148. That doesn't look right. All right, there are some more problems. It looks like it worked. So let's take a look at VS Code and see what popped up. All right, generated files. Today is April 3rd. Oh, Iktomi and the solar eclipse is what we have. I don't think I've ever heard of this story. So let's take a look at what it is. First, I'm going to move to my fairy tales. Okay, it's called The Trickster Iktomi. So let's look that up. apparently if you change the original web browser that you had, the reference disappears and you can't have it in your stream. There we go. I'm going to search for the trickster Iktomi. Okay, Iktomi comes to us from the plains, southwestern, and western American Indian groups. Iktomi has spider-like characteristics and features. From Lakota legend, Iktomi is the firstborn son of Inyan the Rock, who was initially named Skan. Apologies to any Native Americans watching. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing this correctly. American Indian culture recognized Iktomi as both a spider and a spider-like man. So essentially, he's Spider-Man. He was born full-grown from an egg and was the size of an ordinary human. He has a big round body like a spider. Excuse me, with slender arms and legs and powerful hands and feet. He dresses in clothes made of buckskin and raccoon. The Lakota believe that Iktomi is a trickster and does things backward. His clownish ways cause the people to laugh at him, but he is also a sly and cunning man and teacher. American Indian culture boasts many stories about Iktomi the trickster. The Lakota almost always have coyote, Sung Manitou, in their stories as well. In most stories, Iktomi comes out on top because he is so wise, cunning, and sly. Because of these characteristics, sometimes he outsmarts himself, and the coyote comes out on top. As a spider-like man, Iktomi the trickster possesses mysterious, supernatural powers, both good and bad. He might predict something, and if he senses that people have doubts about his predictions, he makes it come true. All right, so now that we have the background about what Iktomi is, we can check to see what the system came up with. All right, I'm going to turn off the background music. And we are going to try listening to what it generated. I don't know if this is going to work. I'm going to play it and see if it comes through. It doesn't look like it's popping up. Okay, QuickTime Player is probably the fastest way to do this. So let me get this opened up, and then I'll work on getting it into the stream. So git projects, Vanilla Sky, Docker, not Docker, userland, generated files, 4.3, fairytale SQL, audio. Okay, now I'm going to add this as a source. Window capture. Oh, actually, let's not do QuickTime. I'm just going to add this as a source. Browse, git projects, Vanilla Sky, userland, generated files, April 3rd, fairytale SQL, audio. Okay, so I believe I've added it.
Once upon a time, in a chapter yet untold, we rejoin beloved characters from a world where magic intertwines with the modern day,
I don't hear it. Hold on.
bringing us...
Gotta set this up so that it goes through. All right, that worked. I've got to work on. There we go. Okay, so let's update this audio. I'm going to highlight what's on the screen as it is red. So that was 1, this is 2. There are 8 of these files. That's interesting. So it picked up on the fact that this is a Native American tale. It picked up on the fact that I want these stories to have an ecological bias. I want them to talk about technology. And it adds a solar eclipse. That is cool. All right, so next file. Number 3. Oh, I like that. I like that moral. All right, here's number 4. The Solar Children? What in the hell is that? I let's take a look at these images. All right. That doesn't exactly look like Native American dwellings, but that's fine. Oh, wow. So I suppose this is meant to be Iktomi. And then there's the moon. And then I suppose this is meant to be representative of the modern day society. All right, then we have the owl. That is a huge fucking owl. But if I recall correctly from Native American stories, these types of beings are meant to be larger than life. So I think it's really good that it picked up on that. And these are the Solar Children. Holy shit. Like it came up with the concept for a solar child, whatever the hell that is. And then it came up with a description of what they're supposed to look like. Now, this description is supposed to be inside the JSON. So let's take a look at that. Narrative. Do we have an image description? All right, here are our images. Description: a vibrant modern-day Native American community transitioning from sweeping plains to eco-friendly urban areas, no text or numbers. Details: wide-angle shot, at sunset, warm colors, showing eco-friendly architecture blending with natural landscapes. So let's find the Solar Children. All right, the first meeting between Iktomi and the Solar Children, who glow with radiant light. Considering that we didn't give it much detail, I think this is amazing. All right, so back to our story. All right, next up, realizing his folly, Iktomi set out to unite his community. Together, they transformed the eclipse into a celebration of unity rather than an opportunity for personal gain. As the eclipse enveloped the land in darkness, followed by an awe-inspiring corona of light, the community stood together, their hearts intertwined. Iktomi, once the trickster, had become a uniter. Had become a uniter, protector of nature's harmony. He learned that true power lies in joining with others to marvel at nature's beauty and ensure its preservation. The tale of Iktomi and the solar eclipse reminds us that true strength lies in our generosity and unity. By putting the well-being of others before our own, we protect the world for future generations. Well, that is a hell of a moral. I like that. But let's go back to the audio that we had. Next up is number 5. Oh, wow, look at that picture. That is so cool. Oh, wow, that's photoreal. I didn't want it to be photoreal. That's odd. Lots of images of community. Which one was that? That was 6. So next up is 7. Wow. So it came up with this by itself live on the stream. It came up with the script, came up with the images, it came up with the audio, and without any human oversight. Now, obviously, this story is not going to win an Oscar, but this is amazing because if you tell ChatGPT, I want you to do 3 or 4 different things at once, it's not going to do them very well because that's not really how it's designed. But by taking the approach I've taken, which is to layer the things that we are telling it to do, taking the output of one task and using it as the input for the next task, we can build things that are relatively complex. It does depend on using an appropriate model, a model that's powerful enough. All this is being done with GPT-4 because GPT-3, 3.5 is just not up to the task. All right, so this is a good overview of what this is looking like. I need a little bit of a break. We've been doing this for about an hour, so I'm gonna be right back. But before I go, let's thank today's sponsors. First up, today's sponsors the concept of capitalism, because who needs sleep when you can work 3 jobs? And our other sponsor today is Morpheus the cat. He's currently asleep, but he's been biting the hand that feeds him since 2024. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back in just a minute.